So these are basically the same. Turin and Athlon, it's just a little bit different. This one has a little bit more clock speed than two. So you gotta be careful with the old school ones, especially like this, because this is a pin array, PGA, so there's pins on here instead of in the computer's socket. And then the BIOS should uh-oh. I think we might have bent pins. Yep. Right. And then the actual monitor itself inside is very short screws, ironically. These are not that hard to misplace. These ones are tiny. So I like to keep them with the back ones. I may be able to fix this, I don't know. So by this point, I was bending the pins little by little with needle nose tweezers. I was struggling a little bit because I don't want to put too much pressure on the pins in case they break. So I did little by little and then seated the CPU. Oh wow, there was like a stain. I didn't even notice that. If I can get this to cooperate. I apologize everyone who is in here. This is terrible. We're like an hour in. After I seated the CPU, I cleaned the socket and then I gave the top layer of the CPU a cleaning because it looked a little dusty, and then added the thermal paste. There. Now, a 2 gigahertz instead of a 1.7. So I like that. After everything was set up, I wanted to do a test with Max Payne 2 on Windows 11, and you're going to see some really bad FPS performance here. I don't know why. It's probably because it's Windows 11. By no means is this a gaming computer, but with the ATI Express 1150, you can get some performance out of it in a gaming situation. Anything from the mid to late 90s will run on this easily, especially Rainbow Six Rogue Spear. That generation of Rainbow Six will run on this easily. I would put the ATI Express 1150 in the PS1, PS2 game console generation because you can definitely get performance out of it if you're using the appropriate software.
She's one of them. She's here to kill me.
Back off, Thane.
Winter.
I appreciate all who made it this far into the video. To close it out, I wanted to show you some F122 gameplay. I was testing out new settings with my race wheel. I was trying to fine tune the force feedback and other settings, and I think I dialed it in just right. This game is difficult, and added with a race wheel, you're going to get a definitely different experience compared to a controller, but I enjoy every minute of it. Relearning the tracks I known from games from a decade or even more ago, and then new tracks, it's really fun, and I'm enjoying the difficulty. And I want to learn it little by little and try to get as good as I can with it, because these games can definitely take up a lot of time and you can lose yourself with it. With the CPU installed, I definitely seen a huge improvement with response time. I do wish there was no bent pins, but hey, things happen. The CPU was not that much money if I had to contact the seller to get another one. Again, this is a CPU from 2005, so they go for peanuts. And this was just something I wanted to mess around with and get a little bit more performance out of the system. I thoroughly enjoyed doing it on stream. I wish I had another hand so they could operate the camera and I could show them like, hey, zoom in right here, let me show you this, but I had a blast. So with the new CPU installed and the Noctua thermal paste, I have noticed slightly different temperatures. My lows are lower and my highs are slightly higher. The air in my room, it's probably going to be a little bit above ambient, so the temperatures when full tilt, I get around 65 on one core and 70 on the other, but then when the process is over, the temperatures come down significantly. Not saying that the other CPU didn't, but this one does have more performance, so that is a given. More performance, more temperature. In the future, I would love to see using better paste. Not saying that the Noctua isn't good, but I always hear that there are better pastes out there, and I would love to see, with this system being such an easy to take apart computer, I would love to add maybe Kingpin thermal paste and then seeing how that goes. But with that, I'm happy with it. It's an easy drop in, and then you put it back together and test it. To close out this video, I wanted to show you Max Payne 2 running under Windows XP instead of Windows 11. The ATI Express 1150, for whatever reason, is limited to 128 megabytes of VRAM, where in XP and I believe Vista and 7, I think you got the 256, but for whatever reason, I believe people were saying when Windows 8 came out, it limited the VRAM. But the game right here is running native resolution, which is 1280 by 800. This is also running at high settings, and the game is running significantly better. And I do believe it's because Windows XP requires much less resources to run. And this is a computer that shipped with Windows XP Home, which I do have installed. The computer is going to be definitely limited because I do have 6 gigs, but this is running, I believe it said 4 gigabytes of RAM. But the VRAM is its full capacity, 256 megabytes, like I stated. And the resolution is its native resolution. No mods, no nothing. And the game looks better, runs better. And I can't wait to get into it because this game, like the first one was very fun. I never played the second one, so I may be crazy enough to play this on this Dell just to play it. I'm going to leave it here with the last bit of Max Payne 2 footage. I hope to see you in the next video. Leave your comments down below. Let's have a discussion.
Listen, someone's broken into my house. Call 911.
Is this the Payne residence?
Yes, someone's broken into my house. They're still here. You have to...
Good. I'm afraid I cannot help you.
Who is this? Hello?